A very warm welcome to you. Merry Christmas, and for those of you who don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays. I hope this is a lovely time of year for you and your family. A Christmas story, well, an off-roading Christmas story, and then I want to share with you what, and I know a lot of you like this, who love off-roading and four-wheel driving. What vehicle would you buy if availability and money were no object?
It is the revolution in DC power distribution.
Right, the Christmas story. Because I measure my life in what vehicle did I own at the time, and therefore I can calculate the year. So this would have been about 2002 and Christmas Eve, and my vehicle was my G-Wagon, my 461 G-Wagon. And Christmas Eve, preparing for our family day on Christmas. And Gwen said, whatever it was, don't remember what it was, not important, please could you go to the mall? I said, you've got to be kidding, it's Christmas Eve. It's going to be mayhem. Look, there's a shop and you have to go to the mall. Do your best. Okay, so I climbed into the G-Wagon. Off I go, 5Ks, and I was living at the time in South Africa in a place called Somerset West, 40 or so minutes east of Cape Town. And the mall was not even a 10-minute drive away. As I approached the mall, cars parked, both sides parked. I'm thinking, I'm not going to be able to park. If I do park, I'm going to park close to 2 kilometers away. Quite a hot summer's day, didn't feel like walking. What am I going to do? Carry on driving, and I'm scanning, and I see a Land Rover, 110 or something, on a lump. Okay, so I drive towards the lump, and there's a bit of a building site, and it's not cordoned off. And there's a big, really steep, deep hole, and this pile of kind of small rocks and sand, and parked neatly on top. Somebody doing their shopping, and they'd parked their Defender on top of it, which made me smile. And drove around, and around the back was an L200 Mitsubishi pickup. Also, he'd obviously used four-wheel drive because he'd got up and parked. But there was no space for me, except in the big hole. And I thought, getting out might be difficult, but hey, worth it. So I went in, and it was really steep. And I remember the bottom of the hole was shaped like this. So when I parked, the G has a really good approach and departure angles. So as I opened the door and jumped out, the sill of the door was probably was close to chest height. I remember when I got back after my shopping, I had to heave myself up into the driver's seat. It was a huge dip. And when I had arrived back, having done the shopping, the guys in the Land Rover had waited. They were standing around looking at the G-Wagon. The guys in the Mitsubishi, exactly the same. And they were talking to each other because I had driven into this huge hole with the G-Wagon. And they were smiling at me. And I said, hello, and I jumped and I had to climb up without embarrassing myself. Climb up, get into the driver's seat, close the door. And I'm thinking, the easiest way out is just put it in reverse, maybe lock the back diff, and just go out backwards. And I thought to myself, I've got about 5 people watching me with big smiles on their faces, and they're thinking, forget it. Your stuff, you are going to need me to tow you out. I'm thinking, no. Cannot let that happen. I thought, okay, reverse. And I put it in reverse and thought, now stuff it. So I locked both lockers front because I knew that I was gonna need both. And I put it in low, put it into first, and climbed up. And I remember the G was really good at climbing. Fantastic, it's like a mountain goat. And the car came up like this, and you can imagine the front wheel came off the ground, because the actual articulation on G's is not particularly good. So it's very spectacular when you drive it in uneven terrain and you use the lockers. So the wheel came right up, and the wheel must have been, metre plus above the ground. And as I came up, I was at left foot on the brake, with quite a bit of power down, left foot, controlling it on the brake. And as it comes up like this, as I feel the weight dip, okay, I jab the brake, which moves the center of gravity forward. So now the vehicle is hardly moving, but it goes like this and falls and falls and falls. And as that front wheel touched the ground, take the brake off. And you've got the power, the accelerator pedal is already down. So you've got the power, so like this. The end result is I climbed out of that hole, no wheel spin, you could hardly hear the engine, and the guys started clapping. They all started clapping. And I just wound down the window and said, "Merry Christmas, guys," and I drove home. Very, very proud about myself. Now, if you said to me now, what would money and availability, no object, what would you do? Because remember, the van was I'd always thought van is a really, really nice idea, but I didn't like the idea of existing vans because they had all-wheel drive. They didn't have four-wheel drive. The Sprinter four-wheel drive is not actually available in Australia, so availability would have been a problem. But the vehicle itself didn't interest me that much because it wasn't an off-road vehicle. It had all-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive. So it never appealed to me. And then when the Hi-Ace came along, suddenly it was, okay, there's a van, it's got proper four-wheel drive, go to give it a go. Which I've done, and I think, and it's still under development, the van, but I think it could possibly be the best overlanding vehicle I've ever used. But I'm still in the learning process. And now, and some people have said to me, "Oh, you shouldn't have sold your Troopy because big mistake." Well, I'm happy to make mistakes. If it's a mistake, I'm happy with it because it's an experiment. It's interesting. It's a challenge. The vehicle that I would want and there's a clue behind me, the vehicle that I would want if there was no restriction on money availability is the 464 G-Wagon. It's the military spec. Now, I look at it and I compare it with Ineos Grenadier, and in many respects the Grenadier is actually better. I would still far prefer this than a Grenadier. Because again, it's more interesting, and the Grenadier is really interesting. It's something unusual, and I love the look of the G. It just gives me a warm fuzzy. Both models really appeal to me. As an off-roader and a town car, this one, but if I was to build another Overlander, the long wheelbase pickup variant, and having learnt so much from my dream tourer, to build a camper on the back of that. And with that, I'm going to play you now an extract from the television series. I had 9 television series in South Africa, 13-part series in South Africa. The first one was broadcast in 2005. 9 years. All right. And this was series 2. And it was my 463 G-Wagon in a off-road driving school called Stony Ridge in Natal. And this was probably filmed in about 2006-ish, around there when it was filmed. Apart from having fun, a four-wheel drive can be a very useful tool. They find their place doing many varied jobs, but for most of us, they're used mainly for fun. In my job as a filmmaker, my four-wheel drive also finds itself doing many varied things. Today, we're making a film about an 8-wheel drive vehicle called an Argo. For a while, my G-Wagon must take on the role of a boat. This is going to be quite demanding, and I do hope that the vehicle is up to the task. I do have a Land Rover Defender standing by as backup. The terrain is a mixture of deep water, sticky mud, and later on rocks. Once in the water, the challenge is to keep moving. But just a little too much throttle and the tyres lose what little grip they have, and the vehicle sticks. Meanwhile, seeing my plight, the Defender comes to the rescue. Well, maybe not. With the cameraman on the roof, we managed to get a shot like this. Meanwhile, having got the shot, it's time to get out. Turning around is completely out of the question, so along the river I must go. I just hope it doesn't get any deeper. Well, that was fantastic, actually. Doesn't that show you how lots of speed in a difficult river crossing is absolutely the wrong thing to do? You know, the interesting thing is that there are not that many vehicles that are purpose-built for this kind of driving. The Mercedes is one of them, and there are not many of them.
Keep your wheel on high ground then, yeah, so at least got one.
Where am I going to put my wheel? I'm going to straddle that.
You're going to have to come across with that rock. My wheel has to be on that rock. My wheel.
On that rock?
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to get over there?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Now I understand. Well, one of the secrets of driving with automatic transmission, you can probably hear the brakes making quite a noise. That's because my foot is on the brake the whole time. and I'm controlling the speed with my brake, not with the accelerator. I try and get the revs up. A very, very happy Christmas and a wonderful new year to you. Thank you. If you want to support the channel in any way at all, the least you can do is like the video and subscribe. That helps me out, tells YouTube that you like my work. Until next year, see you then. It is a revolution in DC power distribution.